Hey up guys, welcome back to another video. It is another deck profile. Your host is myself, Callum, and today I am bringing you none other than the legendary, the ancient incarnation of thunder, as a Kai weeb likes to say. So without further ado, let's get on. So starting off, we have our grade 0 Spark Kid Dragoon. We all love. And funny enough, tell I interrupted this is actually my first encounters deck. One of potentially many more to come. So, yeah. So, that's the grade 0. Not typical when red opponent, draw a card. Moving on to the right line, we have the grade 1 Red River Dragoon. Old favourite of everyone's of Narukami fans. So, its skill is, when this unit is rode upon by a grade 2 of only Narukami in its clan, search your deck for up to 1 Eternal Thunderbolt, reveal it, put it into your hand, shuffle your deck. And then on rearguard, when this unit boosts, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Narukami for its only clan, counterblast 1, choose one of your opponent's back row rearguards and bind it. You do not know how good that sounds, especially depending on who you go against. If you do not bind a card, you may soul charge 2. So, next up, we have Thunderstorm Dragoon. Another good fan favourite. So, the skill is, when this unit is rode upon by a grade 3 card with only Narukami in its clan, look at the top 7 cards of your deck. You can choose up to 1 Narukami for its clan or an Eternal Thunderbolt from among them, reveal it, put it into your hand and shuffle your deck. So, in other words, it's a good board setup or stack your orders in your hand, which we'll get into. And its secondary skill is, when this unit is placed on rear, if you have a Vanguard with Narukami for its clan, soul charge 1 and get 5k power. Which is good, because if you go in second, you can just basically, if you're on grade 2, you can say, okay, call it down, 5k, instant soul charge, sets you up later. And finally, for the grade 3, we have the Lord of Thunder himself, Dragonic Kaiser Vermillion. And yes, this is a double frame rare. Single pack pull, thanks to Lydia. And oh my god, it is absolutely amazing. Just have a look at the artwork on that. So, without further ado, what does our lightning boy do? So, its acts once per turn skill is counterblast 1. Choose 2 of your units with only Narukami in its clan, and yes, you can choose itself as an option. And again, if I compare it to the end of turn, until the end of turn, when this unit would attack, choose 2 of your opponent's rearguards, and this unit battles all the units on the chosen rearguard circles and your opponent's vanguard. So in other words, you can basically either attack all your opponent's front row, or basically you can target key pieces. And it combos quite well with the order that we'll be getting into. A secondary skill, which half the time I do forget. Auto, once per turn. At the end of the battle that this unit attacked, if you played a normal order this turn, and your opponent's damage is 4 or less, discard a card from your hand, choose one of your opponent's vanguards, and deal it damage. And you do not know how good that sounds. Dealing damage to your opponent, getting them to basically sitting on 5 is quite nice. So, carrying on, we have the extra copies of Vermillion for Persona Rides. It's quite nice to actually have a Vermillion that isn't a 12k base. Next up, we have the order I am running 4 of. And that order is Eternal Thunderbolt. So, this order can be played from drop, and you can play this card if your Vanguard, is Vermillion in its card name and only Narukami for its clan. So just so you know, you can play this normally and play it from the drop. So, in a sense, if I'm right, which I believe I am, you can actually play this order technically a total of 8 times. You play it from your hand, and then the next turn you can play it from drop, but it binds itself. So it's quite nice. So, carrying on to what it does. It gives Vermillion the skill, Continuous Vanguard. When your opponent's rearguard is hit by this unit and would be retired from rearguard circle, bind it instead of retiring. And Continuous Vanguard. If your opponent has no rearguards, all your front row units get plus 5,000 power. If you played this order from the drop, you bind it. Honestly, that is really nice considering. So, put it this way. I did a play match against Luke, against his Zorga, and I literally just kept binding all of his roaming prison dragons and Dragon Turret Bistivea, so he literally just it shut down the deck very quickly. So it was not a nice matchup. But against Shadow Doji, it was actually quite funny, considering both decks can have units that work from the bind, such as the new promo that was released for Vermillion, which is Rough Cull Hammer Dragon. It is a grade 3. I only run one of it because of its skill. And to be honest, I have multiple cards that let me check the top 7 or top 5 and call a card or something, and I can add something to my hand. So I've got a good chance to get this in hand. That's why I only run one. So what does he do? Auto rearguard. When this unit attacks, if you played a normal order this turn, this unit gets plus 5,000 power, so an 18k, which is quite nice. Until the end of that battle, at the end of the battle, cost Counterblast 1, draw a card, and you bind this unit. Fair, it's good, but a secondary skill. Auto from the bind zone. When you play a normal order, if you have a Vanguard with Narukami in its clan and Vermillion in its name, and you do not have a rearguard with the same card name, you may call this a rearguard. So that's basically why I run the one copy, because if I keep binding itself or it gets bound by other units, I can just basically keep calling this back as an 18k attacker, which always adds the pressure, especially when you've got when you drive check triggers. So moving on to grade 2s, I run 2 extra copies of Thunderstorm Dragoons, solely for just the when placed 5k for a 15k attacker and the extra soul charge. Nothing more I really need to add on that. And then I am running 4 of this boy. Yeah, we all know who this is. It's Dragonic Death Safe. So, skill on continuous rearguard. During a turn, if your opponent's front row has no rearguards, this gets plus 5,000. If you combo this with Vermillion skill, that makes this 20k power. Plus the order, if you have your opponents have no rears, this is a 25k attacker without boosts, without Persona Ride, and without triggers. If you just think about that. And secondary skill, auto. When this unit attacks a Vanguard, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with only Narukami for its clan, Soul Blast 2, choose one of your opponent's rearguards and bind it. If you do not bind a card, you draw a card, which is quite nice, in all honesty. It depends how the opponent's board's looking and what you're going against, but having that extra draw can be very beneficial. And to be honest, you can easily fill the soul back up, as seen by Red River skill. So moving on, I have currently running 3 Dragritter Latifa. So what she does is when this card is placed on rearguard other than by a unit's card ability, if you played a normal order this turn, Soul Blast 1, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 card with grade less than or equal to your Vanguard from among them and reveal it. Call it to rear if this is a unit card, and put it into hand if it is a normal order. Shuffle your deck. So for this, the main target I actually use for Latifa skill is Rough Cull Hammer Dragon. If I'm lucky enough to find it, brilliant. So I only run the 3 because it's literally there. And its secondary skill is when this unit attacks a grade 3 or greater unit, this unit gets power plus 5k until the end of the battle for each of your opponent's open rearguards in the same column, which is basically 20k. Because considering with this how this deck works, you're easily going to have a column open. So 20k is quite nice. Moving on to grade 1s, like Red River, like Thunderstorm, I am running 2 copies of Red River, which obviously you can soul charge 2, which funnels Dragonic Death Safe. Don't really need to go into more into that. Next up, I am running 4 of the notorious fried chicken, Rising Phoenix. So, what's it do? Drop. When any card is bound during your turn by your card effect, if you have a Vanguard with only Narukami for its clan, Soul Blast 1, and call this card to rearguard circle. Then its axe skill. Retire this unit, choose one of your units, and give it 5k. Which half the time when I use this, it is literally just giving the 5k to Vermillion, to making it at least like 1 to pass if they guard with a trigger. Next up, I am running 4 Dragon Monk Gojo. Why? Because he's a generic counter charger for Kagero. And his skill is when the Vanguard's attacks this unit boost hits, retire this unit and countercharge. And courtesy of Luke for giving me an SP, which is also nice. So I run a playset of them because obviously it is counterblast heavy. So having the countercharges is nice. And the last of the grade 1s, which I'm going to do a Luke. PGs. It's PGs. We don't need to go into PGs. Moving on to triggers, I am running pretty much a typical build of what you'd think for a Dragon Empire, and that is literally 8 crits. I do not bother with fronts because sometimes I don't have a full front board to benefit, and just adding the crit pressure is quite nice. So, yeah. And then we are running 4 heals. It's typical. Don't need to say any more. Then I'm running typical, just 3 draws. I've not been able to get hands on the effect draws, but to be honest, it's just ride fodder to me, in all honesty. And last but not least, we have the over trigger. I currently do not own a Dragon Empire one, so I'm currently using the key visual promotional one, which again I actually got off Loot. But to be honest, this is just as nice. 200 million, which you can distribute. It is very nice, but obviously the Dragon Empire one is better to allow Vermillion to restand for that added pressure. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe for more. I might have the Astro and Masks deck profile updated with set 13 stuff that now it's been announced. So keep an eye out for that, and also keep an eye out on the channel as well, because I am expected to do some videos with Luke, potentially maybe deck profiles and matches. So keep an eye out for that. Bye.